Back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the best case scenario for Ron DeSantis in the 2024 general election. I did a best case scenario for Trump, a best case scenario for Biden. I might do one for Harris and Buttigieg and Hawley, and many other people. So if this video, appears to be popular, I'll probably continue it. Just to mention, I do plan to do a lot of those subscriber suggestions coming out in the next few weeks. So if you were one of those people who made a suggestion, I will hopefully be coming out with those videos I'd say in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Anyway, before I get into this video, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as we are literally 10 subscribers away from 300, so if we could hit it within the next few days, that would be amazing. And 300, yet another big milestone. It seems like we just hit 200 not too long ago, so the channel is definitely growing. Anyway, let's get right into this video today and start off with the safe Democrat states. I'll still include California as a safe Democrat state. However, I'll leave Oregon and Washington out of it, as well as Illinois. I will use Massachusetts, obviously D.C., Maryland, definitely solid states, New York, and Vermont. And also, I won't do Maine's first, actually, but those will account for all of the safe Democrat states, safe Republican, safe DeSantis states, whatever you want to refer to them as. This is obviously the best case scenario for DeSantis. Keep that in mind, which is why it's not looking, and it will not look particularly favorable to the Democrats. So this is why it's not going, don't assume that this is the election prediction. This is the best case scenario. And I feel like I have to mention that because a lot of people don't read the title as well as maybe it's intended to be read. So this is usually the safe Republican states, but I'm going to include a few more. I'm going to include the state of Iowa, the state of Ohio, Maine's 2nd Congressional District, as well as the state of Florida and the state of Texas. If I can click on it, my mouse is a bit messed up. All of those will be considered safe Republican states. Iowa, Ohio, and Maine 2nd have continued to trend to the Republicans. We've seen very popular Republicans out of all of those states, with Rob Portman in Ohio, Chuck Grassley in Iowa. Even when back in 2020, when it was looking like Joni Ernst might lose that election, she ended up winning it by over 6 points. DeSantis, also from Florida, the polls at the moment for 2022, very, very favorable to him. I wouldn't be surprised if it went by a safe margin in Florida and Texas. I actually think it could shift back to more of a safe area, as we saw those trends, definitely, when you look at the New York Times trend map, significantly trending to the right in South Texas with that increased Hispanic support. And the same in Florida with the Miami-Dade County party affiliation Republicans, now the majority in Florida. Let's get into our likely Democrat states. Likely Democrat state will include the state of Washington, the state of Delaware, and that will be it for and the state of Rhode Island, actually, as well as Maine's 1st Congressional District. Sorry about that. In Illinois, the state of Illinois will all be likely Democrat states. Rhode Island, Delaware. If somebody like Harris was the nominee, or somebody that is even worse than her, even DeSantis definitely could perform well against and narrow up Delaware to a likely margin. Same with Rhode Island. Now let's get to likely DeSantis states. First likely DeSantis state will be the state of Wisconsin. That's a state that has continued to trend to the right since Donald Trump's victory in it in 2016. Even though Trump lost it in 2020, the margin Biden won it was significantly smaller compared to the margin he won it, or Obama won it back in 2012 to 2008. It has clearly been narrowing up. Another likely Republican state will be the state of North Carolina. This is something Republicans can win by likely margins in. We saw Roy Blunt win it by a likely margin in his race in 2016, and I wouldn't be surprised if DeSantis could do it in his best case scenario. Also, Nebraska 2nd Congressional District. We see, obviously, now that we head into the 2020s, the redistricting has begun. And that will be seen in Nebraska. And it is very likely, considering Nebraska has a full Republican control of their state congressional, state Congress and, the state legislature and whatnot. It seems very logical they will make it a Republican district, or as more Republican than it is now, which means that, I can't accurately depict how it will look, but I think that it will probably go by a likely margin in the 2022 and 2024 elections going forward. That is going to be it, actually, for our likely Republican states. So not many, 3, but that is really because I characterize a lot of the other toss-up states, Iowa, Ohio, Texas, Florida, as solid races for DeSantis. Lean will be Oregon. Now you'll start to see a lot of the other races fill in that you were not seeing before. Colorado will also be a lean Biden race. Actually, you know what? I will not characterize color as a lean Biden race yet. It'll be in the next column. Actually, no, I think I still will. I think with the polarization of the country, you could still see a state like Colorado be more lean blue and possibly go to Biden within 3 to 4 points. However, that's a significant narrow. You've seen moderate people win in Colorado. Actually, you saw Cory Gardner win in that state, so Republicans can win there. Even the incumbent governor, Jared Polis, who's a Democrat, definitely much more of the moderate Democrats, where I believe he's a much more moderate than Democrats like Bill de Blasio or Gavin Newsom, Eric Garcetti in those states on COVID, and has more of that crossover appeal to Republicans. So Colorado, has that swinging tendency, although it has continued to trend to the left. I still see it going by a lean margin for Joe Biden. That is it for all of the lean Democrat races. Now we head into now we head into our tilt Republican races. So tilt Republican races will be the state of Arizona. This is going to be a lot. Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and New Hampshire. All of these races will go to Ron DeSantis by a tilt margin, or by a lean margin. Arizona and Nevada, those are states, especially when you look at the recent 2022 polls. People say, what are you talking about? In the comments, what are you talking about? Nevada and Arizona, or Nevada specifically, is not trending to the Republicans, is not trending to the right. Well, take a look at that recent Nevada, sorry for that, that's my dog, that recent Nevada governor poll with Dean Heller, up, I think, 7 points. So I know it's a Trafalgar poll, but that is a significant margin. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Nevada shift to the right and possibly even gain a Republican governor in that state in 2022, not just because it's a red wave year, but because it's shifting, especially a state that is heavily prone economically, with Las Vegas definitely struggling from the current inflation crisis in the country at the moment, and also that Hispanic shift in the Southwest. So as those states, especially Arizona and New Mexico, trend to the left, you could see a slight bounce back, and maybe even more than that, because nothing ever remains the same, first of all, and because of, I guess, the current policy issues that face the country at the moment. And given that Joe Biden's the incoming president, that's where people direct their blame. Michigan, Pennsylvania, two Rust Belt states continue to trend to the right. New Hampshire, I see it going by a lean margin, just depending on who the candidate is. It's definitely that toss-up state, and people tend to vote Republican and Democrat there. Georgia, another lean state, could shift back to the Republicans in 2024. Wouldn't be surprised if it did, depending on the candidates. And there's not really much I can say to that, but other than that. All right, let's go to tilt Democrat races. So I'm going to give New Mexico a tilt Democrat. I still see it going Democrat in 2024, due to the fact that it has trended so far to the left over the last, I guess since 2004, 2000. That was 2004's the last time a Republican won it with George Bush. But you could see that obviously shift back. And New Mexico has trended, or not trended, but it appears to be slightly shifting to the Republicans at the moment. Definitely shows you nothing's stable, every time. And it's a bit, it's funny because when you look back, you realize how stupid you are when you say it. But when Obama won in 2008, the Democrats said, oh, the Republicans are never going to win a national election again. Trump won in 2016. I don't know if the Democrats are ever going to win a national election again. That's just not true. People are like, oh, this is inevitable. All of these states are now safe Democrat, or all of these states are now safe Republican. That's not true either. These states shift. These states are flexible. People think that things are set in stone. They're not. It can definitely shift back and forth. And I wouldn't be surprised if you do see a lot of these races shift back and forth. It has been multiple decades now as these shifts have progressed, and those shifts could progress in another direction, but we have yet to see. There are many more elections to come, and we will see if those things do come to fruition. But I don't think we should go forward looking at the maps with the ignorance of, thinking that things are going to remain the same when you look at the trends and you see that they are shifting and you look at reality. Anyway, let's look at the tilt Republican races. I see Minnesota, Virginia, if I can click on it, and Maine at large, all tilting to the Republican category. So the rest of the shades tilt. Now, keep in mind, this is the best case scenario for Ron DeSantis, 342 electoral votes. In my mind, I do think he is one of the best people to run for president of the United States among the Republican category. I think he has that national appeal. When you look at those head-to-head polls, they have done head-to-head polls between DeSantis and Biden, DeSantis and Harris. He has performed very, very well there. And in the best case scenario for DeSantis, I see him essentially sweeping the country in a modern-day landslide. Of course, it does not appear, unless the candidate was awful, that we will have in the future, and I don't want to make such a general statement, but looking at it at the moment, it does not appear that elections will be, 400 electoral vote plus or even 500 plus, which is what we saw with Bush and Reagan and Nixon. But you definitely could see elections like this where it's 342, 350, upper 300s. And those could be modern day landslides. This is definitely a modern day landslide for DeSantis. Now, in the Biden best case scenario video, I only had him getting 292 electoral votes. That is, that's where it was at when I made the prediction. I'll probably do a best case scenario months from now, or maybe a month from now, or however long from now, and it definitely could go back in Biden's favor. But he's very unpopular in the country at the moment. A Quinnipiac poll had him at a 36% approval. So when I definitely show you the Republicans outperforming the Democrats in this electoral margin count, don't be so shell-shocked about it. It is simply how I'm looking at the country at the moment and how I'm looking at the polls. And we're heading into a red wave year. That is simply what the projections are going to be for the future elections. There are 3 years to go until 2024 and a year until 2022. A lot can happen, but the only thing I can do is look at how the country is in the current day. So keep that in mind. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you do have, a question about one of my state calls, or you think that I misjudged and should have called it differently, please let me know in the comments below. I'm definitely interested in looking at it and looking into it. Also, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay tuned for more awesome videos. Once more, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.